In this edition of Art Rocks, a sculptor shares his creative process.
I always like to work with clay and other type of media to get my hands involved more than sort of an academic kind of a thing.
The gift of gravity revealed.
The whole process actually started really with just workshopping the idea without a script.
A day in the life of a prima ballerina.
To have that physical, tangible sense of somebody appreciating you so much is so awesome.
And the artistry of Liberace's fabulous costumes.
It was just a desire to just keep moving, to top what I had done before.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Rocks.
Art Rocks is made possible by the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting and by viewers like you.
Hello, I'm James Fox Smith, publisher of Country Roads magazine, and this is Art Rocks. In our first segment, Louisiana sculptor Morris Taft Thomas finds spiritual expression through his art, whether he's constructing a realistic piece or a more contemporary abstraction. Let's take a look.
I love get my hands in three-dimensional material. I love working with sculpture, all type of metal, wood, stone. I like all forms of art in terms of metal. But I found that metal gives me something special, a special reference, because the intention of metal itself was not necessarily designed for the type of sculpture that I create. It was designed more or less for steel churches and beams and those kind of things, bridges, etc. I started back, I guess, in the early 1960s. Prior to that, my grandfather was an artist, and so it's sort of a genetic inheritance that I carry on the tradition, and so it just kind of multiplied from there. I did major in art, became an art major, but I was working with two-dimensional forms, and I did not get the type of gratification that I desired from work with two-dimensional forms. I always like to work with clay and other type of media to get my hands involved more than sort of an academic kind of a thing. And so I began to experiment with material like stone and metal, and this why I ended up, and it seemed to be a successful venture for me. I want to create something that the person who look at it, the viewer, can get some gratification, some feeling from. And I try to keep my work simple because a lot of individuals have not had, and I don't have the real feel for art. They like different things. But I try to make it something that is congruent to all individuals, that they can feel, hey, I can identify with this particular work. I like nature. And so a number of my works deal with flowers, they deal with fish, birds, and things of that nature. I work in series. And so the work I'm doing now is more contemporary in terms of abstraction. And so I work from naturalistic type of work to abstraction. One of the reasons I decided to do public artwork, because it's sort of self-explanatory, I wanted to expose a lot of, especially young people, who may have not have had the opportunity or had the experience in seeing art. But if they're out there in the community where they can see it, they'll probably develop a great appreciation in the field for art. It may stimulate them to look at art as a vocation for themselves. My objective, as far as an artist is concerned, is trying to establish a legacy, not only for my family and my grandchildren, but a legacy that says, this individual created something that is unique, that is different, and I can relate to it, and hopefully one day that maybe someone in my family can have the same emphasis and look at what he has accomplished as an artist and give them the idea that I too can become successful if I work hard enough and just practice my skills as an artist. To me, art is, from a personal standpoint of view, is more of a spiritual connection. I feel that to me it's a sort of a inward spiritual bringing out of the individual. And I have visions often of things that I create before I can create those. It's something that I cannot explain in words verbally, because I can have a concept in mind prior to going to bed. But then I seem to dream, I have a vision of what the work is going to look like. And once I do that, I get up maybe 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning and begin to sketch. And then this particular design becomes to fruition in terms of a concept that I can transfer from paper to the material itself. And so this, to me, there's a connection there. And every individual is born with some type of uniqueness or some type of talent. It's just a matter of being able to identify what your talent is and pursue it. It's a dream. Pursue your dream.
Now, let's take a look at some of the upcoming arts events happening across Louisiana. For more information on these events, visit our website at lpb.org/artrocks. And to find more arts activities, check out countryroadsmag.com. Independent filmmaker Alicia Rose has big hopes for her ultra-low budget short called The Gift of Gravity. Featuring local Portland, Oregon cast and crew, the film tells the story of 4 teenage girls who set out to play a prank only to get an unexpected lesson in compassion. Here's a glimpse at the making of The Gift of Gravity as Rose workshops her script with the film's young actors.
Have you ever thought of making your own feature film? Who hasn't? Well, it's kind of a long road, but it can be done. For Portland filmmaker Alicia J Rose, that road starts with making a short film first. This one is called The Gift of Gravity.
So this is just as a good exercise because your characters, imagine your characters, being kind of the snotty girls that you didn't necessarily like so much in school, or the girls that have given you grief. I'm Alicia J Rose. I am a filmmaker and photographer living in Portland, Oregon. Mean girls, but more realistic. So, should we start? And I've been working hard at transitioning, from music videos into commercial work and now into narrative, which has really always been my goal. And this short film being the first narrative short that I've written and directed, it's exciting to see it come together. You're going around in a circle and saying a nice thing to somebody that's actually mean. Okay? The whole process actually started really with just workshopping the idea without a script. This is just like for me to get some ideas. I'm going to record it, okay? I just brought my iPhone and set it on record, and I had them kind of vamp a bunch of scenes.
But yours is looking a lot less frizzy. It looks really good. Thanks. Your hair looks a lot blonder.
So they would just kind of go for it, and I'd kind of steer their conversation, and then I took sort of tidbits so I could understand the way they spoke, because I'm not 16 anymore. I know. Anyways.
I love your hair, Shanae.
Keep going.
It must be great not showering. It's really good for your hair, the oils.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, I just can't, does this have to be actually going on in our head?
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be a real thought about Shanae. I mean, this could be something kind of more about her character. They're all actual teenagers who actually live in Oregon. And let it be known, there's no LA up in this joint. This is very, very Portland, very, very real.
Morgan, I just want to say, you're so brave to wear those pants. I mean, they don't look good on everybody, and it's just go for it. Great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think we should just focus again, just for the sake of improv, on the character of Lenore. okay? I really want, Sinead, Lenore, your character to like kind of take it in. And when every girl says something, it becomes like one more hit. And I kind of want you to like, when that happens, like just kind of close up a little bit. You can even scoot forward a touch so you feel a little more separated from them, not right with them. All right, action.
Heard the other day she went through the lost and found bin at school. Like, you know, that stuff has lice in it. And she
probably already has lice.
They should probably like suspend her for that.
Yeah, no.
This short film is about, you know, girls being mean to each other. It's about bullying. They brought it full force and they really dove into the characters. And I think, you know, there's a lot of rawness there. There's a lot of roughness.
She's
All right, guys.
getting expelled for no reason.
So that was good. I liked it. I think what we should do now is do more of a physical exercise.
This is what real actors do.
Okay, and drop. This is definitely how you teach actors to get a little goofy. Okay. All right, and go.
Oh my god. You guys, I have the best idea.
What?
Let's make a video.
This short film is about technology. It's about, you know, the tools we have at our disposal to do good and to do bad.
It's just weird. Whatever we do, it'll be good. It'll blow up. Let's go. You guys want to go?
I don't know. Yeah. Come on, Claire. I don't know, guys. Come on.
If she finds out, my mom would literally kill me.
You know, teenagers have cell phones now. They have smartphones. They have choices. And in this story, they decide to use one of their phones to create a video document of a really sort of sad, disturbing, unfolding situation, and then are left with the question of what to do with it.
Come on, Claire. Come on.
The gift of gravity is one they receive when, you know, the S hits the fan.
Okay, let's do it. Ready? Final mission on 3. 1, 2, 3, final mission!
So this is just the beginning of, I hope, a very long future of making all kinds of films.
The Gift of Gravity has been an official selection of several film festivals around the country. In this segment, we meet ballet dancer and Columbus, Ohio native Samantha Lewis. Lewis has been with the Ballet Met Columbus, her hometown dance company, for 6 years, and up next gives us a look at life as a ballerina, both on stage and off.
I get up around 7:30 and leave around 8:30. Just in the morning, normal getting ready things, hair, makeup, normal girl things. Class starts at 9:15 and I spend about 30 to 45 minutes doing kind of a pre-class routine that I do. We have our ballet master, ballet mistress, artistic director, and then a couple teachers from the academy that teach us. And there's a pretty standard order of exercises we do. There's always a way that you can be more expressive with your feet and the way that you're using your feet against the floor. You can always be more pulled up through your torso. You can always be softer with your port de bras or sharper with the dynamic of your legs. As soon as you think you've figured something out, you really realize that you have not figured it out at all. And there's a pretty standard order of exercises we do. Pliés, tendus, dégagés, rond de jambes, fondu, frappe, grand battement, adagio. And then we come into the center, and that's a little bit more free form in terms of what order, what combinations are given. Every dancer likes their shoes a little bit different. We go through about 40 pairs a year. So at the beginning of the year, we have 40 pairs of brand new shoes. There's all sorts of tricks that you kind of learn growing up, and every dancer likes it a little different.
You should do that one where you go and get a
Our ankle joints get jammed a lot from the point work. Our trainer will work on releasing all the muscles around the ankle joint, calf muscles, and then she'll typically try to adjust the joint to going back to its normal functioning position.
How much better it is when I get it to go?
When I had my ankle surgery, I really promised myself that I was going to do everything that I could to prevent any sort of future injuries to my ankles, get rid of some of the inflammation in my body, and it's kind of like pushing reset on my lower legs a little bit. When you put on a costume that you absolutely love, it is really the finishing touch on a performance that you've already worked so hard on. We're already critical and judgmental of ourselves, so the last thing you want to add on to that is being overly critical of yourself because of what you're wearing. Cooking for me is a big way to release stress, just because you have to focus on what you're doing, and the timing of it is so crucial that you can't think about anything else.
Sacrifice a goat on a mountaintop somewhere.
Ballet has afforded me so many opportunities. I would not change anything that I've done with it. I feel so privileged to do what I do, and so lucky that I'm surrounded every day by people that are so passionate about what they do. Everyone is the most focused they've been in the rehearsal process the week leading up to the show. There's a real sense of camaraderie. We're all in this together. We want to put our best foot forward and really show everyone what we can do. The way that people step in for each other, the community that we've created is just so wonderful to work in. Ultimately, we are all competing for the same roles day in and day out. Anybody going out for a part against you is only going to push you to be that much better. I've done all of the steps a million times. I'm completely ready to do it. This person picked me for this part out of this company of people. I'm realizing that I will actually get closer to the performances that I want to give by letting go of trying to be perfect. Every time I step on stage, I remind myself of how lucky I am to be able to do what I do. Just, gratitude. It definitely feels like everything that you've worked so hard on has been appreciated. To have that physical, tangible sense of somebody appreciating you so much is so awesome. Standing ovation never gets old, that's for sure.
Ballet Met Columbus has toured 28 US states and has also performed in Egypt, Spain, Poland and Russia. Now it's time to explore another of Louisiana's treasures. Each week on Art Rocks, we celebrate and examine an artistic or cultural element with unique ties to Louisiana. This week, we'll look at the history behind that little something extra, lanyard.
That extra small gift that a merchant adds to a customer's purchase, lanyard, like the 13th item in a baker's dozen, indicates good measure and appreciation for a customer's patronage. The word is derived from the South American phrase la yapa, or la ñapa, referring to a free extra item, usually a very inexpensive one. Spanish Creoles are thought to have introduced the term in New Orleans, and the Louisiana French population adapted the spelling. In his book, Life on the Mississippi, Mark Twain writes about it, calling it a word worth traveling to New Orleans to get. By the late 1800s, the custom was so entrenched in New Orleans commerce that customers came to expect their lanyard and would ask for it upon purchase. For as little as 5 cents worth of merchandise, a shopkeeper would supplement a purchase of red beans and rice with a ham bone or salt meat. Grocers especially would compete with each other by offering the most enticing lanyard, such as sugar, spices, or candy. But the practice eventually sparked resentment among the shopkeepers, so much so that in 1906, approximately 1,500 New Orleans grocers collaborated to end the practice, distributing anti-lanyard signs throughout the French Market and downtown neighborhoods. Over the next few years, trade organizations and committees formed to enforce the new policies succeeded in reining in the practice. The tradition of lanyard survived, though in a much less expensive form, such as offering candy to children. Lanyard continues to be a popular term in Louisiana's jargon, but the practice is left to the discretion of the merchant and is never an expectation.
And finally, an up-close look at an exhibit of Liberace's famed costumes. And we hear from the superstar's wardrobe designer, the late Michael Travis, about what it was like to design for the famously fabulous performer.
My name is Jim Lapidus, and I am a costume designer. We're here to celebrate the costumes in the life of Liberace. I have a costume. It's the iconic piano key suit that I designed for Lee back in 1974. I am so thrilled the Cosmopolitan did this exhibit, and I am thrilled that they've honored Michael Travis, who is my mentor. Michael Travis, if you look at the embroidery, he's like Picasso of beading. I did a couple of pieces for stage, but I was really primarily known for stuff that he would do personal appearances in. Michael Travis did the big showpieces that you've seen today and that Lee's known for.
I made the Plastic Liberace look. In the 17 years that I worked with him, it changed from a flashy, gaudy look to a really, if I say so myself, an inspirational, fabulous costume look, with exquisite embroidery, with exquisite detail that had not been seen in his costumes ever before. I went over the top with what had been going on with his costumes. When I joined him in 1970, it was a hodgepodge. Anything for flash. And when I was asked to do it, I was kind of, I don't know, that kind of stuff. But when he said you can do anything you want, and I tested him out, it was full speed ahead. Prior to him, I had done a show called Laugh-In on television, and then I was doing Tony Orlando and Dog. And I was also doing Wayne Newton, I was doing The Supremes, I was doing Fifth Dimension, I was doing Dionne Warwick, and a few others. I was very thrilled for the break that it gave me. I was doing very nicely with Laugh-In and all of that, but this was just going over the top, just being able to do what I wanted.
Whose idea was the rhinestones?
Oh, that had to be me. It was more than rhinestones. It was rhinestones, it was bugle beads, it was pearls, it was gold filigree embroidery, it was all kinds of fancy type of embroidery. The one over here, it's what I call the Napoleonic Austrian costume. The trademark of it is that when you opened it up, the whole thing flashed in an army of embroideries that looked like feathers. It was on the billboard here in Las Vegas. And the other one, there's the blue one. The suit and the coat are exquisite in every detail. I studied fashion design in Paris, and I got exposed to a lot of the arts of classical design, of classical period costumes and all of that. And a lot of that was funneled into what I was doing with Lee. All in all, it was just a desire to just keep moving, to top what I had done before. And the fact that I knew that I had carte blanche, that nobody was going to tell me, no, this is too much or it's going to cost too much, was a reason to go one inch further. And finally, we came up with that $350,000 white fox cape with an embroidered costume because he wanted it to look like Marlene Dietrich. Nothing specifically guided me, you know, and all I knew is that I liked elegance. As he said, his famous quote, "Too much is just wonderful if you do it right." If you do it right. And these are examples of doing it right.
And that's it for this edition of Art Rocks. Be sure to drop in online at lpb.org/artrocks, where you can catch up on any episodes you might have missed and find information on upcoming arts events. Until next time, I'm James Fox Smith, and thanks for watching.